The Oil and Gas Free Zones Authority's mandate is to attract investments into Nigeria. The mandate is essentially tied to the OGFZa's value chain, and the regulator has to support all chains from procurement to export.
Our mandate, based on the Principal Act, is to attract investment in the oil and gas sector to oil and gas free zone, because the oil and gas industry is a value chain. So if we support all the chain, both from procurement up to at the time that they take those equipment to the rig and also do the export. So we support the whole value chain of oil and gas industry. Over the years in oil and gas free zone, we've been able to benefit from a lot of investment, especially in the flagship free zone here in Onne, because most of the big players in the oil industry, they've come here to do a lot of investment. And from this particular zone, we support most of the oil rigs that we have in the country.
While evaluating the regulator's mandate, PwC's head finance and accounting advisory for the West area, Abimbola Banjo, says the big question is whether or not Nigeria is a place where investors from across the world would want to invest.
In Nigeria, the whole idea of free zones is a story of Nigeria, or oil and gas, or whether it's an oil and gas trade zone or not, is a question about selling Nigeria. Is Nigeria the kind of place where there are opportunities that people of other nations would like to invest in? The answer is yes. And so if they've made up their minds to come and invest, the question is, where is the best place to set up our business? Is it a place that gives us proximity to our customers, or is it a place that gives us proximity to our supply chain, right? And if you're bringing all of these incentives that can help optimize our business processes, then by all means, we'll go there.
According to the OGFZa, most of the oil rigs that exist in Nigeria are supported mainly by the Oil and Gas Free Zones Authority. The regulator says the impact of the free zones on value chains extends from blue-chip companies to MSMEs.
Most of the subsea equipment are tested, calibrated, and most of the coating of the pipes that goes to the rig, they are all done in this particular free zone. It is a long value chain, so we have a lot of businesses that are not directly oil and gas by description, but they benefit from the free zone. For example, in this free zone, we even have a catering company that does offshore catering. You won't see those companies as oil and gas industries per se, but because they are supporting the oil and gas industry from the free zone, so they also benefit from the oil and gas free zone.
In terms of the value chain, or the parts of the value chain that will sort of benefit from these activities, you're talking about, because again, understanding the oil and gas industry, you're starting from the upstream side of the business, which basically has to do with exploration and production activities for oil and gas, which typically would be either offshore or in swampy areas or in areas of land where you have to dig to certain depths to recover the oil. But what we're talking about here is the people who will benefit from that production. So, and like I said earlier, I was talking about the midstream. And the midstream pretty much covers the transport bit of it. It has to do with things around, there's obviously the gas gathering bit of it. There's the refining bit, which is also part of the downstream sector. So, of course, if you're refining, either modular or large-scale refinery, you're the best candidate to enjoy the sort of incentives that the oil and gas zones have to offer.
We support the oil and gas industry a lot from this zone. We have companies that are not international companies in our free zone. I know the major companies are the IOCs, but we have Nigerian companies, that has even become a little big. A company called Hamilton Technology is a local company. They started small, but today they are supporting a lot of rigs in Nigeria. So we support MSMEs and Nigerian companies also in the free zone.
Services is also a big player. So if you look at the existing oil and gas trade zones, you take Onne for instance. Onne has Onne even has the upstream players. So the upstream activities don't necessarily take place at the zones, but you have a lot of offices, because there's a benefit, right, to working side by side with people that benefit along the value chain, right? So you have your service players, the people who will provide either directly relatable services or the ones that are non-directly relatable. And when I mean directly relatable, I'm talking about things like security, providing things like eating and restaurant services, things around maybe utilities for the offices. But the ones that are relatable are also the service providers, the guys who go into drilling, the guys who go into repairs and maintenance. And all these people all have their offices situated in the in these zones. Obviously, for a small player or an SME, that's an area. There are different areas that you can explore. The oil and gas trade zone provides a unique opportunity for the country to harness some of its internal capabilities. So you think about the fact that we're heavy in oil production. It is a decent opportunity for us to actually set up, develop our midstream and downstream sectors, right? So obviously the things that come from oil production are things like associated gas. There's no reason why we cannot leverage the opportunities provided by the trade zone into petrochemical production or fertilizer production, or channel the same into oil and gas, into power production as well. And obviously the way these zones are set up, they're set up for you to enjoy huge incentives from the federal government.
Our major incentives are in the area of taxation, immigration, customs incentives, and the fast-track incentive. For taxes, all the companies registered in the free zone, they are exempted from paying all forms of taxes, federal, local, state, or local government. And for customs duties, the companies are also exempted from payment of import duties, as long as the goods remain or they are used within the free zone. There are no import duties. They also have immigration incentives. That is, there is no restriction, there is no quota for the companies that operate within the free zone to bring in their expatriate staff to work in the zone. Then come down to what we do every day, the operation side. We have what is called a fast-track procedure in the free zone, where every activity that we have to do is done with speed. We have a procedure that everything that we have to do for a particular client, every process must be completed within 48 hours. Even the ones that we still pass to other sister agencies, we already have an SLA, service level agreement, that we will spend 24 hours to process our document, and they must also complete at their own end within the next 24 hours. So in all, 48 hours, we have to complete every transaction through the zone.
Tax, immigration, and fast-track incentives are some of the other benefits offered by the Oil and Gas Free Zones Authority. But to what extent are potential beneficiaries aware of these benefits?
From time to time, we try to pass this message across to our clients, and that is why we have a lot of interest coming from Nigerian companies and foreign companies to come and invest in the free zone. Even Notori, which is the latest free zone that has been added, they already have clients, tenants, coming to take space in Notori. I think they are aware of the incentives, and we keep, enlightening the public that they stand to benefit more if they operate from the free zone. The incentives are massive. And before I forget, there is a particular incentive that is very major in oil and gas free zone. That is the 75% import duty rebate. If a company that imports any equipment to this free zone, if those equipments pass through value addition, if value is added on those equipment without changing the character of those products, when those products are going to Nigeria or any other country where duty is to be paid, they have a discount of 75%. The attraction is that value has been added in the free zone. So instead of bringing a finished pipe from Argentina or from Brazil, like they used to do, they bring pipes to the free zone. Those pipes are coated here are fabricated here. So once they go out of the free zone, they're entitled to ask for discounting import duty because they are coming for the free zone.
Then everything that we have, or every option that or everything that we can put on the table to make investments easy for these investors should be brought on the table.
Next 5 years, I think we begin to look for space, and luckily Dotore is just here. More clients will be going to Dotore. In the next 5 years, I believe that the authority will be able to be stable on its own. Like for some time, we've been on federal government budget. If we do what we do now and continue to do in the next 5 years, we may not have to go to the federal government for any subvention. We should be able to foot our capital and recurrent expenditures in the next 5 years.
The oil and gas free zone in Nigeria and PwC have a partnership, and obviously we are a global firm. We're in about 200 countries globally, and that partnership exposes Nigeria as well to the rest of the world, as well as the oil and gas free zone. So I think in the foreseeable future, I think investments will continue rolling.